Hi there. So I've been keeping polar parrots for about 2 years now, and I got my first breeding pair a little over 6 months ago. I put out a few videos when they first started breeding and first started having fry, but now it's been 6 months since the first batch of fry hatched, and I just wanted to give an update video on how they're doing, how breeding's been going so far, what I've learned, and my future plans for breeding polar parrots. Alright, so here we are at my 65 gallon. So this is where I keep my polar parrots, at least the ones that are large enough to be with the other fish. I currently have 4 polar parrots in here. I have my breeding pair, which you can see right down here. And so the male is the larger one, and he actually we got from Petco. And then the smaller one back there, hard to see right now, but that's the female. And she stayed pretty small. She's really only got to about an inch, maybe a little bit larger. But once she got to that size, she started breeding and laying eggs. So I think she's really using most of her food and nutrition for just laying eggs and having babies. So I don't think she'll really grow much more besides this. She's really beautiful though. She has a really cool color, especially before she lays eggs. Really nice yellow and orange, especially in her stomach and on her tail a little bit. The other 2 I have one right here. And so this one we actually got from a flea market. There's a pet store and a flea market. And the tanks weren't too good, but they had one polar parrot in there and he looked healthy. So we bought him, wanted to give him a good home, and we quarantined him for a good bit just to make sure he was healthy and there was nothing. And so far he's been doing great in this tank. Besides that, we have this one polar parrot, and this one actually is part of that first batch of fry in my 2-month video that I posted. There was about 6, I think, then when I posted, maybe a few more. Unfortunately, they eventually did all get eaten by the other fish in this tank, and the other fish I do have is yo-yo loaches and clown loaches. There actually is 2 other clown loaches you can't see that are much larger. One's about 5 inches and one's probably 3 to 4 inches. And all those loaches are still growing too, so as some of the polar parrots stayed small, they ended up getting eaten. This one was definitely one that outgrew the others, and that kind of benefited them. I think they get large enough that they didn't get eaten while the others did, and so they actually are the only single surviving fry. I thought most of them would be large enough to not get eaten, but that was incorrect. There really was only one that grew large enough and quick enough to survive long term, and it was this one, and now they're plenty large enough to not be bothered. He's actually even large enough for, I don't know their gender. They're large enough almost as their mother. My parrots have had more fry since then, but pretty much all the fry have gotten eaten. What I do notice is they'll live about a week and then start getting eaten after that. The parents take great care of them and defend for them till then. And once they grow a little bit, then they usually end up getting eaten. But I do actually have a 7 gallon, which I'll show here, 7 gallon grow out tank. Right now I have 6 fry in there, and they're growing to a nice size. They're growing pretty well. So I'll talk more about that in a bit, but my plan is once I move these out and they have another batch, I'll continue to put batches in there from what I can catch from the 65 gallon and grow batches as I'm able to. As I said, I did notice batches getting eaten between about 7 to 10 days after they hatch, so my plan is to move them after about 3 to 5 days after they hatch. They usually don't get eaten at all in those first couple days, and parents take really good care of defending them. So I see no reason to move them then, and it kind of gives them a chance to get some nutrition initially and have the parents help feed them initially and then move them. The 6 I have that are growing nicely, I'd say they're about 1.5 months old. They're born at the start of November. Definitely is a couple that are growing faster than the others, but they're growing good. Colors are really showing up nicely. Probably in a month or so, I'll move them to the 65 gallon once I think they are definitely large enough to not get eaten. As far as some of my future plans for polar parrot breeding, one is I do plan to end up selling them, or at least give an attempt at that as I get more fry. Initially, I'll probably just do this on Craigslist and local websites and then see how that goes. Just as I'm starting up and only having a few at a time, I kind of want to scale as I can. But eventually my goal would be to launch a website probably in the spring. One reason for that is to do it when the weather's warm, to make my initial shipping of fish the safest as possible as I learn about it and get experience. And then I also do want to offer a few sizes. It'd be really nice to offer both pretty smaller ones, like 1-inch ones, and then larger ones, maybe 2 to 3 inches. And then my goal really is to eventually be able to offer adults that are sexed, because one thing I find is rarely do I see polar parrots sexed, so I'd really like to offer kind of what you see is what you get, and then sell them by the sex, and that'll really help other people. One, either keep tanks of one sex so they can avoid aggression from pairs, because that's definitely something that happens is once you have a pair, become way more aggressive. And then two, if someone does want to breed, then they can buy specifically the gender they need. And I think that'll also just help people in the hobby who want to keep polar parrots from getting way too many males or females or having just too many pairs in a tank. You can really kind of pick and choose. So I think that'll be really beneficial. So that's definitely a goal. As far as what I've learned reading polar parrots so far and some of the mistakes, the biggest thing I've learned is that it's really hard to feed them early on. So with this latest batch of 6 I have, now they're growing great and eating plenty fine, but the first week was definitely really rough. The one thing for future batches I'm gonna do is actually hatch live brine shrimp. I think that will be the most successful. I didn't have it this time when I first moved them over. Would have had success with breeding mollies in the past with gel food, had a ton of success from that. It's from the brand Rapashi. They really didn't go for it at all, so I tried crushed flakes and even crushed pellets, and it really didn't seem like they're going after any of that first week. I did see them nibbling on the filter. I have a sponge filter in there, and I let it sit in the 65 gallon for at least a month before I set up that tank, so there's plenty of debris and such on there, plus the food I was adding. And based on that, eventually they slowly grew, and then after a week, definitely after 2 weeks, they're eating crushed flakes, crushed pellets, totally fine, even frozen brine shrimp. And so yeah, once they are ready and I'm confident in their size, I'll move them over to this tank, the 65 gallon, and then probably move over a new batch and try to grow them better with brine shrimp the next time after that. But besides that, that's pretty much my update so far. I definitely want to make another update video once I move those 6 over and have another batch starting to grow. I'd really like to give an update after the first few weeks to see if I'm just doing better with feeding. I definitely think I can grow them faster, especially at the start. So definitely look forward to that. And I'll definitely keep everyone updated once I do actually start selling them. If you are in the Philadelphia, New Jersey kind of tri-state area though, definitely let me know, because I definitely would be happy to sell any locally, even some of the small ones I have now. But anyway, that does wrap up the video. Thank you for watching. Definitely let me know if you have any questions on polar parrot breeding, any suggestions, any thoughts. It's definitely new for me. I've bred mollies before, but parrots and cichlids in general are new for breeding. So looking forward to learning a lot and even trying to breed and sell a few as a little side hustle and see how that goes. But anyways, appreciate any likes on the videos and subscriptions to my channel. And anyway, I'll catch everyone next time.